Hi, welcome to another segment on Chapter 2. In this segment, we look at determinants of supply or shifters of supply, or what can cause the supply curve to change position. And specifically note, we're not talking about changes in quantity supplied here, because price change is the only thing that can cause a change in quantity supplied, and you'll move up and down that supply curve. This is about determinants or shifters of the whole curve. Just like we did for demand in the previous segment, we're going to do for supply in this. We're going to look at what can shift the whole curve. So there's 6 broad categories of things that can shift supply. And remember, we've got our producer's hat on now. And these are all related. You can loosely tie them all to costs. So you think of the supply curve and the prices of productive resources. So if the price of productive resources increases, like it says here, firms will supply less. So the supply curve will shift to the left. If the price of productive resources decreases, for example, I'm making wine, I'm a winemaker, and the price of grapes falls, then I can supply more wine. So the supply curve will shift to the right or increase. Business taxes is another cost. If business taxes rise, well, that's a cost spread over the whole company. So firms will supply less. Just think, are they going to supply more? No. Business taxes have risen. They have to take that out of their costs. So firms will supply less. The supply curve shifts to the left. And the last one that you can loosely tie to costs is if there's an improvement in technology, well, that'll lead to a fall in the average cost of production for all across all the products. So that will be an increase in supply. Improvements in technology usually reduce costs, so firms can supply more. That will lead to an increase in supply. So those are the first 3 that we're looking at. Let's take a look at the next 3. So 4, 5, and 6, I want to start with number 6 first, because that one makes most sense. It's the easiest. So if the number of suppliers changes, that's going to change the supply curve, because we add up all the individual suppliers to get the market supply curve. So a decrease in the number of suppliers, say they're not making profit and they hop out of the industry, that will reduce the market supply. Which way will it shift? To the left, because it's a decrease. If there's an increase in suppliers, it will shift to the right. What about future expectations? So expectation of the future. If we expect lower future prices, then we'll increase our supply now as a producer. So it'll lead to an increase in supply now if we expect lower future prices, right? Because we don't want to produce all we can in the future. We'll still produce some. But if we know right now prices are high, then we'll want to produce more now. And then this one, substitutes in production. Prices of substitutes in production. This one takes a little bit of explaining. If there's an increase in the price of one product, that will cause a drop in supply of products that are substitutes in production. Okay, what the heck does that mean? Well, let's say I'm a farmer and I can produce wheat or flax in my field. And if I'm producing wheat and I see the price of flax is going up, then next year I'll produce flax, and therefore I'll reduce the supply of wheat. And the wheat is the question, or is the market in question, and it's a substitute in production. So once again, I can produce wheat or flax on my field. I'm producing wheat. I want to know what's the market supply of wheat going to look like. But I see, as an individual farmer, the price of flax going up over the year. So next year I decide to produce flax, and therefore my supply of wheat goes down. So the market supply of wheat goes down. So that's how to understand those 6 shifts on the supply curve. And remember, you're thinking of it from the producer's point of view. Later on, we'll take the supply curve and the demand curve, put them both on the same graph, and shift one or the other and figure out what the conclusion is. And then we're going to end up shifting both and figure out what the conclusion is. But for now, in the next segment, we're just going to go on and explain graphically what happens from an increase in supply and a decrease in supply. And we'll see you when we get there.